Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the differences between the words talk and ask. These are verbs that have a couple of similar uses, but actually making sentences and making some patterns with them might be a little bit different. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll finish today's lesson with a quiz. Let's begin. Okay, the first verb I want to talk about is the verb talk. So we use the verb talk to refer to everyday conversations. This is an information sharing between two people. So I don't really use the word talk unless I'm having a conversation or a discussion. We can use the word talk to talk about like when you're alone and you're talking to yourself. But for today's lesson, I'm going to focus on the use of this verb for conversations with other people. So, between two people or more. Talk is more casual than the verb speak. You might have seen a different video on this channel where I explained the word speak, and I think the other verbs were say and tell. So talk is more casual than the word speak. Please keep that in mind. Then, when making sentences with the verb talk, this is the first point I want to mention. When the direct object of the verb is a person, you can use to or with after the verb talk. So let's look at some examples. First, I need to talk to you about the plan for the weekend is one, and he talked with the team about some ideas. So in these sentences, I've followed the verb talk here in present tense and here in past tense. I followed it with different prepositions. So in the first sentence, I use to. In the second sentence, I use with. Generally, there's not a difference between to and with. However, in some cases, it can give a little bit of a nuance. For example, to might sound a little bit like one person wants to do the majority of the talking. One person is going to share more information than the other person. Using with sounds a little bit more like something is happening together. But generally, you can use either one. Just keep this in mind if you really, really want to focus in on this point. Okay, let's talk about the second point for this verb, though. When the direct object is a topic, you can use about to introduce that topic. So let's look at some examples of this. Here, she talks a lot about her vacations. Another, we talk about our favorite books at our book club. And the professor talked about the syllabus. So in each of these sentences, we see the verb talk in present tense and in past tense here is followed by the word about and then the topic of the discussion. So if you're using about, that means you need to follow the word with just a simple topic noun phrase. So please keep this in mind. If the direct object is a person, you should use to or with before the person, or the group of people as well. If you're following the verb with a topic, please use about to introduce that topic. Finally, we can combine these points to make a sentence like, talk to your classmates about last week's lecture. Here we see both of these points in the same sentence. So, talk to your classmates. These are the people to discuss things with. So talk to your classmates about last week's lecture, the topic of discussion. So we can combine all of these points to make one sentence. Sounds quite nice. Okay, but let's take a look at the other verb for today. The other verb for today is ask. So ask is different from talk. We use ask to request information. So we need new information. We need something we do not have. Ask is more casual than request or inquire. Request and inquire sound a little more formal. In everyday conversation, to get new information from someone, ask is probably the best choice. So, when we're making sentences with ask, if the direct object is a person, there's no preposition that's needed. This is a mistake that I hear a lot, actually. So, let's look at some examples. I'll show you what I mean. So, first example, ask your father what time he'll be home. So here's the verb ask. And here is the person. Ask your father. Another, my boss asked me about the status of the project. One more, can you ask the manager about this item on the menu? So in each of these sentences, you see the verb ask, you see the verb ask is followed by a person, but there's no preposition. Sometimes I hear students say ask to someone, or ask to me, or ask to your manager or something, but no preposition is needed with the verb ask. Yes, you should use a preposition if you're using the verb talk to someone, talk with someone, but when you're using the verb ask, you don't need to use a preposition. There should not be any ask to your father or asked to me. No preposition there, so please be careful of this point. Okay, let's go to point 2 for the verb ask. When you want to introduce the topic of your question, you can use about to do that, just as we saw with the verb talk as over here. Let's look at some examples of this then. So, I'd like to ask about hotel reservations. So here's ask about hotel reservations, my topic here. Then, another example, they asked us about our favorite coffee. Here I've combined these 2 points already. And again, we should ask about renting space for the party. So when you want to introduce the topic, the thing you would like to ask about, the question you have, you can use about after the verb to do that. So let's combine these points to make another sentence. So I've done that a couple times up here already, but let's look at how we can combine these things into one phrase. So here, I need to ask my parents about our family history. So here we see the person we're going to ask the question to, and the topic as well. So please keep in mind, combining these 2 points into one sentence will make a much more natural phrase than separating it into 2 sentences. Okay, so those are the points I want to talk about with talk and ask. Let's take a look now to finish at a quiz, a quick quiz. Okay, so let's choose the verb, and it could be present tense, it could be past tense here. First one, something something your sister for help with your homework. So there are a couple of clues here. One is that we have your sister here. There's no preposition here. That probably means we should use the word ask. Also, if we try to use the word talk here, talk your sister for help with your homework, it doesn't quite match. This sounds more like a question. So the answer to this one is ask your sister for help. Let's look at the next one. He something something to the manager after dinner. So here we have a big hint. The word to is used. That probably means talk. Here we have another hint. After dinner. This probably means we should use the word talked. He talked to the manager after dinner. Past tense talk. Okay, next one. Where's the bathroom? We should something something someone. So here's our big question. We have a question, we need information, so the verb is going to be ask in this case. We should ask someone. So there's no preposition here either, no to, no with. Okay, one more. Let's something something about our goals. Let's something something about our goals. So here, this seems like the speaker is excited about the topic, which means they're probably not asking a question. Therefore, the verb should be talk. Let's talk about our goals. Okay, next one. Why don't you something something him about his plans? So here again, a question. A question is the big hint here. And we don't have a preposition, we just have him. So that means we should use the verb ask. Why don't you ask him about his plans? Okay, last one. She never something something to me. So finally, again, we have this big hint. The preposition to is here. So we should use the verb talks. She never talks to me. Great. So these are a few examples of ways that you can use ask and talk in some common sentences. I hope that that's useful for you. If you have any questions or comments about how to use these two verbs, or if you'd like to try to practice making sentences, please feel free to do so in the comment section below this video. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good resources. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.